Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the A320 Easy 38 November Golf today from Luton to Salzburg, flying out the skiers. Just turning onto our final approach track now for the RLS runway 15 at Salzburg. We're 24.4 DME at the moment, OES, as you can see there. That's the city of Salzburg ahead of us, just in the window there. And I will actually upload a video of a real-life landing on the same runway, actually, via a, obviously via the traffic pattern, because I'm a small plane in real life. But we basically, you see this hill here, we came behind the hill here, popped out the front, and then back round and down to land. So it's a nice approach, it's a lovely little area, and there's a brilliant place to go to if you ever go to Salzburg Airport, and you got the chance, go to Hangar 7. It's a really cool museum. It's got all of the Red Bull aircraft, all of the stunt planes that they use for all the various crazy activities that Red Bull does, basically. So yeah, I definitely recommend a visit, and I'll show you where that is actually, because the hangar is kind of one of the kind of obvious points. So I believe we're going to go into our approach phase shortly. I'm actually quite okay with the speed being relatively high for now. As soon as the localizer is established, just looking out the window, and it looks like we've got a reasonable amount to go. We're not too high, that's for sure. We've got 15 miles to go at 7,000 feet. Airport's at 1,500, so yeah, that's just about right, really. About being at 5,500 if you're at Heathrow. There's the runway just coming into sight there, lighting up like a Christmas tree. We're on Pappy already, so that's good. Yeah, so off this way we've got the Steinen and Meer at the back. They've got the Berchtesgaden National Park of Germany, which actually basically it's a bit of Austria really that they gave to the Germans, so they could have nice mountains. They've also got the Zugspitze, so it's fine. It's just a bit of an in-joke, I think. That is what's called the German Corner, and it's a quick way to get from Tyrol to Salzburg. It's basically by going across Germany, because it's like a little bit of Germany that kind of cuts into Austria a fair bit, and if that wasn't there, it would just be straight through. Staying in Austria the entire time, it's a bit of a nightmare during COVID, actually, because they had to have a special rule for crossing that particular tiny bit, because everyone who lives in Salzburg goes to Tyrol by going across that bit of Germany. Right, there we go. Speed's reducing now. We're on our final approach. I'm going to set gear down shortly. Alt and GS is armed. I'm going to set 4,000 feet now. There's localizer coming now, so that should now engage as it passes that dot. There we go. Localizer glide slope. And I'm going to start commanding some flaps. Let's do flaps 1, just to reduce the speed slightly. Now there is also a nice circling approach, and I'll look at the wind as we get to about 1,500 feet and decide if I'm going to do that. It's basically a dart off to the left hand side and then a loop around over the fields. You can see there's some fields at the back here. We basically stay in that realm there. It's very close in circling, actually. It's not, you don't divert too far right or left, but it's a good approach. So there you go, struggling to get the speed down, so I'm going to pop the gear down already. 8 miles to go. There's the gear coming down now, so you should now notice that the speed should bleed off a fair bit easier. 2,500. We're still at 210 knots. I'm a GA pilot. I fly general aviation, so I'm not used to super stabilized approaches, as you might have seen from my last video in Innsbruck with the short approach. That was a full side slip until about 400-500 AGL. Only really gave it up in the last mile that was on final anyway. Okay, we're below speed check flaps 2. Lights and signs on. Speed check flaps 3. We'll get down to approach speed by 4 miles basically. Yeah, it's just slightly destabilised it, but we're 1,800 above field, so that's no problem. We need to be stabilised fully by 1,000. Anything deviating from that, we're just looking at the localizer, we're not more than 1 click above or below. And there's 160 knots flaps full. Salzburg traffic easy, 38 November Golf, final runway 15. Now looking at this wind, just going to see what's happening as we go below 1400. You can see it starting to twist around to come from more ahead of us rather than from the right hand side. So right now it's a crosswind at 3 or 4 knots and it's slowly moving around to the left and becoming a nice solid headwind. I think it's going to be 8 knots, it said. So we'll see what we're going to do about that. Underneath us now is an industrial area. We've got some churches here, and basically the final approach course has 2 options. Either we turn left and go directly along the motorway when departing 33, that's for GA, or we come out to here and we go along this dark part where there's no built up area basically. So there's 2 noise abatements. Either we go along the motorway noise abatement or we go along this noise abatement. In the other direction we just have to be past this village over there, you can see on the far right hand side of the runway. Right, we're stabilised, wind is perfect for runway 15. Happy with the runway identified. Gear down 3 greens, landing inhibit. No memo greens. No blue, that's the one. We want blue things, we want green ones only. Green for go, blue for stop and think for a second. Maybe press a button or something. It's Airbus, just press a button, that makes most of them go away.
100 above.
Fully stabilised, 700 feet per minute, centre line.
Minimum.
Continue. This is lovely.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. Retard. 5.
Touchdown. Putting all the way back on the stick really there. Doing some air braking. 60 knots. Okay, off the auto brakes. Speed brakes up. So that's hangar 7 is behind us actually. Get the flaps in, we're going to vacate onto the right here. I believe it's Delta? Echo. It's Echo, then there's Foxtrot, and you start at Bravo. Not very normal. Normally you'd have an Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, and Salzburg just has a Bravo. There's no Alpha. It's Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Echo, Foxtrot. So there's a few taxiways, all of them to the right, apart from Sierra, which is to the eastern apron, aka Hangar 7, where Red Bull hang out. And we'll have a look at that now. It is included in the scenery. Unfortunately, it's not a startable parking position, although it is in real life, which is a bit annoying. Runway turn off, lights off, taxi lights, and we'll get the APU online. What do we have there for a 228 feet per minute? Yeah, more of a firm landing that time. Normally I've been doing a bit too smooth the last few times. I'd like 60 feet per minute, but kind of overshooting the runway slightly. We'll turn off those. So there's Hangar 7 over there. It's this very cool looking building. Let's fly a drone over and have a look. There you go, so I've parked in front of that there. We go in here now. I'm going to go to the front actually. Salzburg's bigger than Innsbruck. It's nearly a 3,000 metre runway. I think it's 2,700. So it's similar length to San Diego. So you can land everything there really. Yeah, up to sort of 747s, cargo planes, everything can come to Salzburg, whereas you can't quite get that into Innsbruck. You can get a 767 to Innsbruck. Roman Abramovich did that once. He fancied a day in the spa. He went to the Langenfeld Therme for, I think, 3 or 4 hours, and then flew back home with his 767, you know, as you do. You know, chilled. Very normal thing to do, really. Not. No, those all pictures I got from because now currently working as a baggage handler at Innsbruck. So any senior developers, if you need my help with anything, let me know. But I also fly Innsbruck at General Aviation, as I hope some people have figured out by now. Which is pretty cool, actually, now that I think about it. Like, you know, I kind of started life wanting to be a pilot in the Navy, in the Royal Navy, and hurt my knee skiing, and couldn't do that anymore. So I suppose I settled for learning to fly in Innsbruck, of all places. Quite mad, actually. It's not very mad in a little tiny plane, actually. There's much more insane places. Selamsee, for example, and St. Johann, but 700 metre long runways is a bit more extreme. So you definitely have to take a bit more care there. Go right forwards here. Whiskey 4. And stop. Okay, let's check parking brake on. Let's get the dome lights. APU is available. Landing time was 2.7, it's now 3.1, that's been more than 3 minutes. Engines are going off, we've got APU available. Landing light off, taxi light off, seatbelt signs can come off now. And I'm going to turn off the beacon. As the engines are now no longer dangerous, the ground crew can approach. So let's get them to do that. Ground services, tune ground. Clearance, ground services. Okay, there is no ground services. Not good. Anyway, ground services are in here. We'll go doors, forward and aft stairs, and deboard. There we go, cones and shocks and all of that stuff is also out. Yeah, welcome to Salzburg. Nice little landing.